Let's talk about money this time. I love the topic of money. And they say, like you said with the yes, you have to love money, otherwise why would it come to you?
The problem is not the money at all. The problem is what we make it into, if it is in fact a problem. Well, something you had just said about this whole social, and I'm going to backtrack before I go forward a little. Recognizing that these people around you, most of them, if you were lucky, had love in mind, maybe not all of them, but also how that is demonstrated was from their point of view. And as we get older, we can start to accept them as individuals with their own insecurities, their own foibles, not necessarily a hero, you know, and the perfect person. And we can just sort of, they meant well, and we can love them for what they are. But I think it's really critical for us to take a hold of these relationships and make a choice to have them in our life, nurture them, and embrace them, but recognize that some of them we might have to let go. And I think you touched on to that. Who is around you? What you will find is when you start making changes, here's what it reminds me of. If you have 2 rolls of paper towels and there's a 3rd roll in between, and you go like this and you press hard enough, everything stays fine. You can walk around the house like that, you can go outside like it, that center roll will stay exactly where it is. But as soon as you make a change, you move that arm, what's going to happen to that center roll? It's going to fall. As soon as you change, your relationships around you will change. And I want you to be very emotionally ready for that. That as soon as you decide to do things differently, you'll have the cheerleaders that think this is wonderful. You have other people that look at you a little bit bewildered. And you will have some people that will do whatever they can to get you back to your old behaviors.
Right.
Yes. Because it's a known variable, it's certainty, it's predictable, and they're comfortable with it. And in some cases, they may have made you that way.
Exactly, and they feel uncomfortable that you have left them behind.
Exactly.
And a lot of people don't like that. It's like, how does that reflect on me now?
Now, somehow you're insulting them or judging them, and that's not it at all. So if you can, from a position of love, let them know that this is really about you taking control of your life. So we've talked about this in the beginning already, and that is, partly is the attitude, but go beyond that. I really want you, now that you've been practicing getting comfortable with your money, understanding your spending habits, really step back and try to encapsulate that and decide what are your assumptions about money. Do you have no going on in your head instead of the yes machine? Do you hear a lot of, I'm not good at math, I can't handle money, it's too much bother, I would rather be fill in the blank.
Right.
Outside running or watching a good movie. They're both fun, exciting, and nurturing activities, and we might have to use a little bit of that time in order to use it toward the money. And I think, you know, this is definitely right up, you know, your alley there, that we really have to find that balance. Sometimes we're empowered, sometimes we're scared, sometimes we're strong, sometimes we're vulnerable. Sometimes we'd rather be doing something else that we truly, truly, truly love, love, love. And to step back and say, but not abdicating, like the two of you talked about, but rather embracing, I'm okay with spending a little bit of time with my money. Now here's where some people's eyes just start to glaze over. You start talking numbers, you start talking money, the concepts, and they just can't even follow it. Try 15 minutes. Nothing more, nothing less, 15 minutes. I think all of us can chisel out 15 minutes once a week if that's the case. So the starting point, it's really the ABCs of money. The very first thing you have to do is take a look at what your assumptions are about money, about having it, about earning it, and like you said, $10 or $15 or $25, what are your assumptions about setting that aside? Now for some of you that are far more successful than that, you may be saying, I already put money aside in my 401k or my retirement. Right. You again have to look at it and ask yourself, can I put aside more? Why aren't I putting aside more? And sit back and be quiet and try to listen to that inner voice. You will get answers. So that's the very first step, is to identify your assumptions, recognize what they are, put the good ones to work, and then we have to decide on how to overcome those that might be debilitating in some way.
I think that one of the important facts that I have noticed with women when I'm working with them, they're not comfortable with it.
That's why I started them on the last exercise of just get to intimately to know your own personal money.
Right. So should they go and meet with someone such as yourself and to get the ABCs, or should they do some research on the computer just to get comfortable with the terminologies at least so they don't look so stupid?
You know, there are so many things. Women are very concerned about having the right answer. Now, teachers have known this for years. Little boys will raise their hand and say anything, and if it's wrong, they do it again. And then as they grow up, boys will ask and go out on a date, and if she says no, they ask the next one. Whereas the little girls won't raise their hand until they are absolutely certain of the answer. And watch women in a meeting. They will come to the meeting. For most women, even if it's a mess, it's all there. But they have all of their work done. They will never be, excuse the expression, caught with their pants down around their ankles. They will always have the answer. And then some of their coworkers might be half-baked with the answer, shooting from the hip, but women will typically have the answer. Yes, I'm an advocate of reading it on the internet. Be aware of the trap of being a self-helper. And that's what the B is. The B is put together your own personal board of directors. Statistically, and no matter who's doing the analysis, whether it's Standard & Poor's or McGraw-Hill or any of the others, they have demonstrated that do-it-yourselfers perform poorer than those who have a professional team. Like you have your team on your foundations.
Right.
You want an entire team of professionals. What's that going to include? It will include a good CPA or enrolled agent. It will include a good teacher. If you're lucky, it might be a parent, it might be a brother, it might be a dear friend, somebody who is further along than you are. So you want a good teacher. You'd want a good attorney.
Absolutely.
Trying to do it on your own is a fool's game. And then even a good advisor, financial advisor, whether you choose to go with a comprehensive advisor, many people have that, plus a broker. So putting together this team of professionals, don't worry about getting it perfect. Back to that women thing, worrying about getting it perfect. You hire these people for a certain period of time. You will outgrow them at times, just like dating. You outgrow some of the people you date. They will move away, or they will leave the business, or you simply have decided you would rather work with someone else. That is okay. Women always struggle leaving a hairdresser. They're always worried about hurting their feelings. This is, again, this assertiveness, being comfortable saying lovingly to the person, you did well for me, I am moving on, and just state it very simply. The same thing if you're leaving an attorney you've had for many years, to simply state to them, you have provided excellent service, I've enjoyed working with you, and I am moving elsewhere. That's perfectly okay. So your board of directors doesn't have to be chiseled in stone. This doesn't come down from Moses with the tablets, so it's not chiseled in stone. It can be very dynamic, and you can manage those relationships just fine. And that is the B in the ABCs. Now, from a spiritual point of view,
that's building the confidence too. You have to build your confidence in order to be able to.
Well, that's a good C. It's not my C, but that's a good one.
You have to, build the confidence so you can feel secure enough to fire your attorney, file the CPA, and say, you know what, like you said, I need somebody else. Sometimes, if the same accountant is doing your taxes for years and years, and now all of a sudden your dreams have changed, your business has changed, and he's still doing the same thing, it's time to change. You need someone who's thinking bigger, doing bigger, and can guide you to invest more, to branch out a little more. So it's important to really analyze that. I think that's a